Cathie would forecast higher EV sales in upcoming years, more than double what other analysts are saying. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and now we are going to be speaking about the global EV industry and the amount of sales expected over the next 5 to 10 years, and why ARK Invest and Cathie Wood are taking an exponential growth rights law as opposed to linear growth rates. So I think everybody knows, one reason that ARK Invest are so well known is because of their stance on Tesla, when they've had the craziest price targets out there out of literally anybody in the world, and things aren't really changing despite overall markets changing. So today we're going to be speaking about some recent words that came from Cathie Wood and Sam Chorus, who is an ARK Invest employee over on Twitter. He's the Director of Research, Autonomous Technology and Robotics at ARK Invest. And it's essentially challenging the fact that a lot of analysts are going to get their price targets completely wrong because they are predicting linear growth in the EV industry, whereas Cathie Wood, ARK Invest and the team expect exponential growth. So really quickly, before we get into all of the juicy information and all of the things that every EV investor is going to be super happy to hear about, could I ask you to hit that juicy like button? It helps me out so much, my friends. Drop me a comment down below to help with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you're new around here for more content. So Cathie Wood, the founder, CEO and CIO of ARK Invest, tweeted her views about the electric vehicle unit sales forecast for the overall EV industry. The difference between linear and exponential growth rates should continue to throw analyst forecasts for Tesla and other EV manufacturers off course. And if we look at some of Sam Chorus, as well as again the Director of Research, Autonomous Technology and Robotics for ARK Invest, he said this the other day: according to Wright's law, every cumulative doubling in the number of units produced results in a consistent percentage decline in cost that increase the affordability and uptake of new products like EVs. Driven from Wright's law, increasing EV affordability, we are projecting that, in the absence of autonomous taxi platforms, EV sales will increase more than sixfold to 45 million units, or more than double the 20 million consensus expectation. So essentially, they expect EV to grow an awful lot quicker than most analysts do. So we're going to go through a quick Twitter thread here from Sam, okay? Do we live in a linear world? This is global battery electric vehicle sales. The question is, where do we go from here? So you can see from 2010 to where we are as of right now, huge uptick, and it has never been linear whatsoever. Yes, there has been some huge growth spurts the last couple of years, but it's never been linear. You can fit a diffusion curve to EV adoption quite well, and yet it does fit the graph very, very well given where we are now from 2020. That diffusion curve suggests roughly 59 million EVs sold globally in 2027, which is in line with ARK's expectations. So here's the continuation of the curve. This is what a more linear curve would look like. A linear forecast of the past few years suggests about 21 million EVs sold globally and is in line with some other EV forecasts. And then he brings up this graph here that says, do we live in a linear world? And it pretty much just shows that no, we do not live in a linear world. So ARK Invest has considered exponential growth assumptions for global EV sales that somewhat match the diffusion curve for the graph. Now obviously, look, I'm a huge EV bull, and I want to believe that this diffusion graph is the play that plays out. But simply put, guys, we're not going to know anytime soon. This is a long-term game, and we are going to have to wait and see. The one thing I'd like to point out is this: daring projections aren't new for ARK Invest. In 2017, ARK projected world EV gross sales of about 17 million models a year by 2022. In 2021, roughly 500,000 all-electric automobiles have been offered. This year, 5 million to 6 million all-electric vehicles can be offered worldwide, as much as 8 million if plug-in hybrids are included. Now, those numbers aren't confirmed just yet. They could end up even being higher or lower. ARK undoubtedly was too aggressive in 2017, however, deserves a bit of credit. Consensus estimates were for about 2 million EV gross sales globally. So ARK missed by maybe 100%, but most people missed by 400%. So despite them missing considerably and being way too, overexcited about the potential numbers, their numbers were still much closer than the large majority of analysts. Now, these numbers bear a lot of questions, okay? What about the grid? What about lack of lithium? An awful lot of real issues come with EV numbers getting up to this stage, but that's part of the risk. Sam also has this thread up from August 1st, so quite a while ago, but it's just about the EV share gain for the first half of this year. And you can see that it's huge. This is electric vehicle sales growth year over year at 72%, and gas powered was actually down 18.4%. So, I mean, you can see the trends there. And also here, where are we? 2 seconds. More battery electric vehicles were sold in the first half of 2022 than in all of 2020. And again, if we look at these graphs here, you can see just how quick things started going in 2020. So as of this moment in time, the growth most certainly is exponential. And generally speaking, the second half of the year has been better for EV sales than the first half. So by the end of this year, we may still have the continuation of the graph that these guys are speaking about. Cathie's tweet and EV sales forecasts were received with criticism, as they always are. There's always two sides to a coin. It doesn't matter who you are, how popular or unpopular you are, there will be people agreeing with you and disagreeing with you. Twitterati replied with sarcasm, doubting how the EV makers will source scarce raw materials like lithium to manufacture such a huge number of EVs. A few even quipped at her for pumping and dumping the Tesla stock using these tactics on prior occasions. I think that's a pretty ridiculous call, but anyway. Meanwhile, some with a rather genuine interest in the analysis were worried about the pressure on power grids to sustain the huge EV demand. Despite the negativity in Cathie's EV forecasts, global economies prioritize shifting toward a cleaner and greener environment. This is undoubtable. Look at everything Joe Biden's done over the last few months, everything that's been signed into law. EV makers worldwide are poised to be the biggest beneficiaries of this shift in the long run. So again, when we speak about EV, guys, you got to keep in mind that this doesn't just affect the EV market. It's also going to affect legacy automakers. It's going to affect lithium and, general resource miners. It's going to affect anyone involved in the grid. It's going to affect a lot of different industries. So again, one of the most important things here, guys, is to remember that this is supposed to bring declines in costs that increase the affordability and uptake of new EVs. If we look at the case of EV batteries as an illustration, prices have dropped 30% each time cumulative manufacturing has doubled. So 30% every time manufacturing doubles. Right now, EV battery value roughly $100 to $150 per kilowatt hour. That's down 80 to 90% over the previous 10 years. And again, if you are an EV investor, if you're a bull for EV for the long term, you will be aware of this, and you'll be aware of that's why vehicles can get cheaper as time goes on, as production is going up. I mean, the batteries have come down in price so much, which is potentially the most important aspect to EV growth, to, mass adaptation, so that the masses can afford these vehicles and they're not just some crazy luxury vehicle. Those are still going to exist when you look at the likes of your Lucids and a lot of others out there, but we need mass adaptation. GM believes battery prices will fall by another 60% by 2026 or 2027. And I mean, those numbers do fall in line with what ARK Invest and Cathie would have to say. So what does this mean for investors right now? Does it mean that you need to go run and buy everything under the sun? No, the reason I'm speaking about it right now is because I've spent a lot of time as of late looking at technicals for individual EV companies. I've looked at a lot of, what's going wrong in the world right now. But sometimes you need to be reminded that you are a long-term investor. Sometimes you need to be reminded that you're buying these companies with the intention of holding them for 5 to 10, if not 20 years, and watching the value of them appreciate. It's hard to remember that sometimes when the world looks bleak, when stock prices are constantly going down, when CPI data is terrible, when inflation is at the worst it's been for decades and decades and decades, and it can be very easy to just sell and forget about them, forget about the fact they exist. But really, when it comes to the long term, guys, things are looking quite good for the EV industry. Now again, that's not me saying go out and buy these companies, put all your life savings into them, because I'm of the opinion that more pain is on the way. But just remember why you invest. But anyway, my friends, that is Cathie Wood's most recent update on the EV world. One that, again, long-term bulls should be quite happy with. If you have watched this video all the way till the end, you, my friend, are a true legend. And I just want to say I really do appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. The support since coming back has been awesome. It's just been awesome. It feels great to be back. It's doing great things for my head. I'm loving talking with all you guys again. If you did enjoy today's video, please do consider hitting that like button, drop me a comment, and subscribing for more information. It helps me out an awful lot. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a beautiful, blessed day. I will see you in another video very soon. Peace.